Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the absolute nightmare of a 15-year cold case. Just imagine walking out your front door for your normal morning commute, right? And then just vanishing into thin air before you ever make it there. That's exactly what happened to Ethan Parker. But how investigators eventually unraveled this mystery, it is literally a masterclass in forensic persistence. We're going to break down the timeline, the devastating emotional toll on the family, and the undeniable scientific evidence that finally brought a meticulously constructed lie crashing down. Let's get into it. So let's start by looking at this incredibly, chillingly small window of time. It's Thursday morning in Hutchinson, Kansas, March 12th, 2009. The skies are clear, it's a brisk 40-something degrees out. Basically, there was absolutely nothing to suggest this day would kick off a massive, decade-and-a-half-long investigation. The whole thing comes down to a gap of just 20 minutes. 20 minutes, that's the time it takes to drink your morning coffee, right? Or listen to maybe 4 or 5 songs. But in this case, it was all the time someone needed to completely erase 15-year-old Ethan Parker from his own life. To really understand how fast this happened, let's trace his steps. A completely routine 15-minute walk to school inexplicably turns into a total disappearance. Okay, so at exactly 7:30 a.m., Ethan leaves his family's red brick house. He's got his green backpack on, headphones are in, and he takes his usual shortcut through Cary Park. Fast forward to 7:45 a.m., and an elderly neighbor, Dorothy Miller, spots him. She later said he looked totally relaxed, just steadily walking his normal route. Well, that was it. That was the very last time anyone in Hutchinson saw him, because by 8:15 a.m., the first period bell rings at Hutchinson High, and Ethan's seat is empty. The attendance system flags him as a no-show. So within that tiny 30-minute block, and honestly an even smaller 20-minute gap from when Dorothy saw him to when he was supposed to walk through those school doors, Ethan was just gone.
Now, what's really fascinating here is what he left behind. These incredibly mundane, untouched items instantly proved to police that Ethan had absolutely zero intention of running away. When they searched his bedroom, they didn't find packed bags or missing stash money. No, they found a life paused mid-sentence. His bed was unmade, his phone charger was literally still plugged right into the wall. Downstairs, there was half-eaten breakfast toast left on the table. Oh, and his computer was left open to a science project he was supposed to turn in that exact day. These everyday details were absolutely crucial. On day one, they completely dismantled the whole runaway teen theory. This wasn't a kid running off. This was a sudden external intervention.
And that theory was backed up by the canine units. So the tracking dogs actually lost his scent right by an empty service road, which pinpoints the exact spot where a vehicle was used to snatch him. When police scoured the route that afternoon, the dogs were super confident tracking Ethan's path through the park. But then, right at the north edge near a pull-off, the scent didn't just fade, it stopped cold. And the ground there? Totally undisturbed. No scuff marks, no signs of a struggle. This told investigators that Ethan had stepped off the pavement and directly into a vehicle, silently and swiftly, right in the middle of a quiet residential neighborhood. It's terrifying. You can imagine the agonizing emotional toll the resulting cold case years took on everyone involved. Investigators and the community just kept hitting devastating dead end after dead end. All we found was darkness, as one investigator put it. They deployed helicopters with thermal imaging, they had local divers searching lakes, they interviewed hundreds of people, but the leads just dried up. The whole town was living in fear, wondering how a teenager could vanish in broad daylight. They chased down mysterious backpacks in the woods, unconfirmed sightings of a green van, local suspects, but every single path led to absolutely nothing. Behind the sterile police classification of endangered missing juvenile, the Parker family was living in a frozen state of grief. But they desperately held on to this fragile thread of hope. It's so vital to remember the human element here, right? While the case files gathered dust, Ethan's mom, Karen, would open his bedroom window every single morning, just in case he came walking up the street. His room stayed exactly as he left it, and the family kept a lamp burning in that room every single night for 7 years. 7 years. Just a quiet beacon shining out into the dark. It was absolute psychological torment living with a void like that, with no answers in sight. But then, in 2016, a massive breakthrough. A routine DNA background check for a warehouse job in Oklahoma triggered a CODIS database hit with 99.99% certainty. Okay, let's fast forward 7 years. A 22-year-old guy named Daniel Cooper applies for an AC repair job in Oklahoma City, but he didn't have a valid social security number or birth certificate. Huge red flag for the employer, right? So as part of a standard police identity verification, he gives a voluntary DNA cheek swab,
Well, when that swab hit the National CODIS database, it triggered a massive red alert at the FBI. The DNA matched the Parker family's reference samples. Daniel Cooper was Ethan Parker. No doubt about it.
So once Ethan was finally identified, the immediate question was, how on earth did he live as Daniel Cooper for 7 whole years? Well, it all came down to a masterclass in document forgery by the woman claiming to be his foster mom, Susan Whitaker. When investigators raided her home, they found Daniel's birth certificate. But the forensic print experts, they completely dismantled it. They proved the specific paper stock used for that certificate wasn't even mass-produced until 2010. Plus, the chemical makeup of the laser ink matched commercial inks sold between 2008 and 2011. Science literally proved the document was created a full year after Ethan went missing. She fabricated a birth year of 1994 on paper from the future. Even the medical records she made for him were meticulously picked apart. The sloppy mistakes proved his whole life was just this carefully constructed illusion. See, Whitaker was actually a clinic nurse, so she kind of knew how the system worked. But she wasn't perfect. Investigators noticed Daniel's vaccination booklet was entirely handwritten using erasable ink. And critically, it was missing the mandatory vaccine lot numbers that every legitimate medical file has to have. She purposely avoided big hospitals, only taking Ethan to small, cash-only clinics so his fake identity wouldn't get scrutinized. He couldn't join sports teams, couldn't get a driver's license. Anything that needed verified state paperwork was off limits. Let's walk through the digital paper trail they extracted from her seized Dell laptop, because it shows exactly how she built this false identity step by step. During the apartment search, agents grabbed this laptop, and it became the absolute nail in her coffin. Digital forensics dug into the hard drive and actually found a folder with photoshopped drafts, literally named birth_cert_fall. Wow, right? They pulled the file metadata, which conclusively proved the files were created in August 2010. That perfectly matched the exact time she was enrolling Ethan in a new high school under his fake name. She wasn't just some desperate woman acting on impulse. She was methodically managing a fraudulent identity. And the evidence kept piling up. By cross-referencing mobile data, receipts, and newly enhanced ATM footage of a green van, investigators rebuilt a devastatingly precise map of the morning of the abduction. This is where old clues met new tech. Back in 2009, witnesses mentioned a suspicious green van, but the ATM footage was just too blurry. Well, in 2016, image enhancement software cleared it right up, revealing a Dodge Caravan with black tape hiding the license plate. Plus, FBI analysts pulled historical cell tower logs from 2009. Guess what? Susan Whitaker's cell phone pinged within a 300-meter radius of Hutchison High between 7:40 and 8 a.m. on the exact morning Ethan vanished. They placed her right at the scene. Case closed. Ethan's own harrowing testimony, combined with this absolute mountain of digital and physical evidence, secured a massive 22-year federal sentence. During the trial, Ethan bravely took the stand. He described the terrifying moment of being abruptly pulled into a van, choked into unconsciousness, and waking up in a dark room where he was just told his new name was Daniel. When the jury weighed that powerful survivor testimony against the cell tower pings, the Photoshop metadata, and the undeniable DNA evidence, the verdict was incredibly swift. Susan Whitaker was convicted on all counts: kidnapping, document fraud, obstruction. She stole a boy's youth, but the relentless application of forensic science made sure she didn't get away with it. The ultimate legacy of this explainer is perfectly captured by the authorities' final report. Justice may be delayed, but it is never denied. It's a powerful reminder of the unyielding power of cross-agency coordination and technological persistence. I mean, it took 15 years, but the system ultimately worked because they never, ever gave up. The decision to upload the Parker family's reference DNA into the CODIS database way back in 2010, that was the linchpin of this entire recovery. It proves that absolutely no detail is too small and no evidence is too old when you combine it with modern data matching. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this provocative thought about how we protect our communities moving forward. Could tighter community vigilance and the continuous advancement of forensic database technology prevent the next 20-minute window from becoming a 15-year nightmare? The terrifying reality here is how easily a carefully planned 20-minute abduction bypassed the system for nearly a decade. But on the flip side, it highlights that the footprint of a crime, whether it's digital metadata, a specific drop of printer ink, or a single cheek swab, is becoming impossible to hide forever. Think about the systems we have in place today. How can we ensure the next Ethan Parker doesn't have to wait 15 years for the truth? Thank you so much for joining me as we broke down this incredible case. Keep asking questions, keep looking at the data, and I'll see you in the next explainer.